Hi, I'm Brittany Powers, and this is my Module 1 personal introduction video. A little about me. This is my family and some things that I have fun with when I'm not working. So this is my husband, Bob. We've been married for 6 years this June. I also included a picture of a corner in my kitchen and a lighthouse. Something I really enjoy is decorating, and then another thing is traveling. Those are two passions of mine. Another passion of mine is, of course, my corgi, Archie. He's my only child so far, and he's very important to me. A little about my work. So, some backstory for you, how I got to do what I'm doing now. When I was young, I never believed I was smart or capable. I remember entering 5th grade, though, and my teacher told me I was dynamite in a small package. She believed, and I could feel it, that she thought I was spectacular, and it filled me with so much confidence. I remember my mindset changed forever after knowing her, and I believe even till this day, my mindset is changed for the positive because of Mrs. Brushway. So now it's my mission to help other children believe in themselves too. Everyone needs a person in their corner. My job is I get to show children they can do great things if they put in the effort. Some personal challenges I experienced during the pandemic. Obviously, having to learn to teach virtually in a hybrid model, and then at the drop of a hat back to in person, and navigating the fear and the panic and the stress and the conflicts that were coming up with parents and students during that time. It was all challenging. But more than anything else for me, it was my first year teaching. So the job alone was stressful and uneasy for me. And amidst that, I felt a lack of permission to ask for help or support just because I could see my administrators and my mentors drowning personally. And so I just kind of felt alone in that struggle. And just being around constant negativity, I had moments where I questioned, like, is this the right path for me? But the year really did end in a beautiful place. I said goodbye to my first classroom of students and cried all day because my heart was so full because of them. So yeah, it was a challenging year, but it was full of learning for sure. Something specific I did learn is in the middle of that, I made lots of mistakes, and I had to learn to take feedback. And I didn't realize that feedback stings so much for my personality. But the last sentence I wrote pretty much wraps it up. Accountability for me is uncomfortable, but I know that I thrive more with its presence. So that was a big lesson that I learned personally this year. So as I move on to the content that I learned and reviewed for this first module, I'm going to go as quickly as I can to try to stay close to that 4 to 5 minute mark, but I will link my Google Slides if you have interest in looking at any of this more in depth. So the 3 types of mindsets good leader possesses is that students can all learn and grow. Social capital and teamwork will always outperform individual talent. And the third, happiness is a choice. I completely agree that each of these mindsets are imperative. These principles are sound, and I appreciated that they are all research-based. My one thought was the article mentioned that leaders need to invest more in teamwork than individual talent, and I think both have a place of importance. And just because you're focusing on teamwork, I would just hate to see anyone neglect investing in individual talent as well. Next, we learned about the 5 types of dispositions. So those dispositions were confidence, being a risk taker and having decisive skills, having a sense of humor, being empathetically assertive, and being a lifelong learner. I think all of these positions are wonderful attributes for a good leader to have. These qualities can contribute to good team environments, and they can certainly help with family relationships and leading the school in a good direction. I have a principal that comes to mind that doesn't have a few of these naturally, but they're also a great leader. And so I just wanted to mention that I think a good leader can look many different ways, although this list is excellent. The 3 types of practices a good leader values are focusing and prioritizing. This one is absolutely necessary for a principal or a building leader because I know that they get pulled in so many different directions. They have to be able to draw that line and create boundaries in order to meet goals and get things done. Next was examining feedback and data, but also acting on that information that you gather, not just looking at it consistently, but making steps to adjust wherever it's needed. And the last one was emotional intelligence. I can personally attest that teachers oftentimes don't get a lot of face time with their leaders, and I like how the article mentioned the importance of that FaceTime moment. It said the individual can leave feeling motivated, unmotivated, or inspired. And I believe that that's absolutely true. So I think it's very important for a leader to have emotional intelligence and to really do their best when they're speaking with their team members to be present both mentally and emotionally. The 8 principles of ethical leadership were personal courage, public interest ahead of self, self-control, self-discipline, integrity, task and employee-centeredness, recognizing talent, requiring high ethics from everyone, so not just their staff members, but students and their families, communicating this clearly and making it a non-negotiable factor within the community, having sensitivity and understanding, and then of course encouraging and maintaining inclusiveness. I thought this list was really great. Something that kind of struck me was how high the expectation is on a school leader and how much they have to live up to. And I wrote, an ethical leader is someone who is honest and aims to serve others in every decision. In order to be an ethical leader, you must first be an ethical person. So on reflecting on these lists of what kind of makes up a good leader, I came up with 2 quick lists of what I feel I'm doing pretty well at right now that I should work to keep up, and then areas where I just need to improve. So the list that I think I do okay in now that I should aim to keep up these areas, I have the mindset that every student is capable of learning and that happiness is a choice. I take responsibility in these areas regularly. As far as dispositions, I do have a sense of humor. I hold the value for lifelong learning, and I'm very reflective in my practice. I am also a natural risk taker and tend to be decisive when the moment calls for it. I try my best to always be inclusive, whether that's with students or teammates, and I try to choose honesty and integrity in my personal and professional life. The areas I could improve at are I need to work on my value for teamwork over individual accomplishments. I know I kind of tend to go off on my own because I'm more productive and quiet and when I'm alone, and I need to fight to do things as a team as much as I can. Another area that I could grow in is my disposition and my confidence. Something that kind of stood out to me is how important it is for a leader to be confident, even if they have an unpopular opinion or even if they are in the presence of their superiors. I've never really experienced this so far, and even just reading about it, it was intimidating to me, so I do believe this is an area that I need to improve in. And the last one is I need to work on recognizing the skills of those around me, celebrating them, and utilizing them. So how does all of this support educational success and well-being of students and adults? Pretty much everything that we learned about today is for creating positive school cultures where each staff member thrives, is constantly being moved towards goals and feels supported and safe. And all of that is unto student success. So whether that's their emotional well-being or their academic learning, it's all for students. Here is my correlation of this assignment and the standard for this week, for this course. For my relevancy statement, I said this assignment was valuable to my learning because I was exposed to mindsets, dispositions, and practices that tend to cultivate successful school environments. I analyzed the 8 principles of an ethical leader and tried measuring myself against these attributes. As I aim to be a school leader, it's important to understand what's required and why. Holding this understanding, I believe, will help me develop into the most ethical version of myself. For my personal reflection, I believe this assignment will help make me be a better future school leader. I recognize how selfless the role of being a school leader is. Each action is done for the sake of others and for the community. I was really struck by how selfless the job is. How demanding and how it's all for others. School leaders also have very high expectations placed on them. They're responsible for so many and are required to walk in the utmost of integrity. Realizing this, I believe and I hope will help me to be better in the future and to start growing now in these necessary areas while I am a young teacher. Thanks for listening, and I hope that my thoughts provoked more thoughts in you.